So I had made this a long time ago in like my apartment parking lot. Like I said, I like the look of those like kind of Street Fighter cafe racer style bikes where it's real short ass end, real small seat and big tank, and kind of make it that, I guess, kind of bowl look, real naked. So I had traced out cardboard and mocked it up, and then I got this, like, I don't even know what this is, 22 gauge from Home Depot or some shit, and I just bent it around my knee probably, and it kind of gave me the look that I was going for-ish, but it's just poorly done. I mean, it fucking rattles around. It was okay at the time, I guess, but it's just no good for anything worthwhile, which is where this guy comes into play. And she certainly is not going to be a direct fit, but I'm thinking maybe we can modify something, cut it up, see how it looks with the seat. But first, we got to get this hunk of junk out of the way. So, here's where I'm at with this Harley tail fin thing. I'm kind of fighting the seat support. I want it to look somewhat not authentic, but make it flow right. The curvature of the seat doesn't necessarily match the fender, which is okay, because I think I might make some kind of like trail bar that crosses over and kind of rides the seat and blends it a little bit. My old taillight I don't think is going to work. I'm going to just get like a solo, maybe a retro looking single light here. I've got my directionals. I like the lines of the exhaust. I feel like the exhaust matches those kind of sharp lines well. It tucks up in there. The clamp's a little jank, but whatever. The corners of the seat support right here, I'm going to take a grinder to those. Let's see if I can't get this to ride up in there better, and then ideally line up this hole with that hole. I think that angle, not in love with it. Close, but I think it's angled up a little too high. I'm gonna have to play with it here. Alright, this I'm liking a little bit more. Also, as you'll see on a regular basis around here, you gotta use your tools uniquely, okay? I don't have holes that line up or surfaces to clamp onto, so what do? You take an old wood clamp and you use it in the opposite direction. So I spaced it out, and then I turned it to actually expand instead of tighten, and now it's holding it up in there where I'm thinking I like it. So now what's nice is I can mark where I need to drill a new hole in that seat support bracket, which I think is going to be the main spot that this fender gets secured. Then I'll do some off to the side if I can, if the holes line up right. I might have to trim the fender to make the lines look right. But I like where that light would be. You can see the turn signals. Kind of hard with the glossy black and all my stupid lights in here. But that does, I feel like that pays tribute to kind of a vintage dirt bike more than what I was doing. Alright, I don't know if you can see that on there. There you go. I found it, or I found a spot that I at least like closer to mock-up, or closer to final stage. It's going to help me mock up, so marked it. I'm going to drill a hole in here, and then we'll see how it winds up looking. And we got these step-up bits. These things are just simply cool. I love these. I'm gonna stop using this bolt because it's too damn big. But whatever, it's all I got for now. Yeah, yeah. All right. I know it's kind of hard to see in here, but whatever, get over it. I'm trying to show you. Looks good to me. Okay, so did some more mock-ups. I also brought this piece back. I think I'm going to reuse this. This is the stock plastic inner fender to protect the spring and everything inside. It's also where this module mounts. And I like the idea of mounting it to plastic, how it was from the factory, as opposed to getting rid of this entirely. This is already all spaced under the seat correctly too. So I think, and not to mention, I don't really gain anything from keeping the metal fender inside here. So what I'm thinking my go-to is, oh yeah, and I got the newborn gremlin with me, so he's got his contrast cards here. Got to keep him entertained. I think I'm gonna cut. I was doing some testing with that too. It's gonna be my tail light. Kind of a cool little simple thing. I gotta take these hips off. They're too damn wide, and they don't fit up in there good. So this thing was only 40 bucks. I'm gonna see if I can chop it up and get it to where I need it to go. So made some cuts, and then I ended up cutting off the back, because now that this insert's in here, I want it to kind of ride right here. It's hard to see, but there's a shelf here where then it comes down if I wipe it off a little bit. So I want to kind of butt that there, and then as it comes up, it'll catch these. So we're kind of there. That goes in there, and then I traced out where I still got to trim. Man, here's a special treat. I found my old iPod Classic and bought a charger. I couldn't find a charger, that thing's long gone. But powered this baby up. Now I gotta see if I can find an aux for my little stereo that I've hodgepodged together. We're gonna jam to whatever the fuck is on here. That's gonna be a fun throwback. Okay, I found an aux cord. Let's see. Holy shit. Hell yeah. Oh man, I am rich. I don't even remember how to work this thing. Huh. I don't know how to turn on shuffle. I don't know what my playlists are. Okay. This is not the main effort. That thing is. Okay, I'll quit fucking around. Okay, so I got this thing kind of in now. I'm still rocking that stupid bolt that's popping it up too far, but nonetheless I'm walking it on. I've trimmed, I don't know if you can really see that, but I trimmed the hips off the fender, which was making it too wide to really fit in there. Now we're walking it on. I also had to cut the back off so that it fits up in there now. It's all trimmed, so you can't really see it from the side or anything. And then what I'll do is I'll use those other two bolt holes on this side, and I'll just use some kind of spacer, get like some kind of nylon or something that won't be metal on metal, so it won't rattle. Something soft, maybe even just like a rubber bushing almost. But then also new development, I picked this up. I'm like, oh cool, something simple maybe. Looking at this on the back, I'm just not vibing with. It's like too European cafe racery, which looks cool on some bikes, but at the end of the day, this is a fucking dirt bike, and I'm trying to get it to be dirt bike-esque. So I scooped this one up. This is another little generic guy, but it fits right up in there, and even from the side profile, it's kind of got that slant, so it kind of looks like it was supposed to be there. I'll recess it in a little bit. I didn't film it because it wasn't that fun, but I just filed down a little bit of this to give me some passenger side flex. And then I'm using this clamp just to pull me over a little bit, so it still wants to walk left a little bit. But I've got that fender now centered. I put my kickstand on a block to kind of like give me a legit straight up angle. And I ran a string through here kind of to act as like a plumb. I'm fairly centered up. I'm off like just by a nut hair. Not enough for me to care because I'm actually the same spacing from here to here. So front and back I like it. Angle will kind of be adjusted by how big of a bushing I put in here. But I think I'm going to drill these holes right now, and then wherever its final position is, I think I'm also going to come in from the side on this block bracket. Probably use the same threads that are in here all the way through, and then just have a nut on the underside. Just to have more security points, so it's not just flopping around all shitty. Okay, back again. Not gonna lie, I'm having trouble keeping track of what I recorded and what I talked about the time previous. I only work on this thing for a few minutes at a time. Got a newborn in the house, so going through the newborn trenches on that guy, and I come out here late in the evenings and work on this thing for a few minutes before heading to bed myself. So if I repeat myself, I'm sorry. I don't go through and rewatch my clips and whatnot. I try to keep these quick and concise as much as possible, but still speak my ideas. So on my way home from work, I picked up these little like rubber spacers, bump stops that I think I'm going to use. I picked up some stainless bolts and nuts to fit in there. These I know are too big, but I did that on purpose so that I can cut them, drill a hole down the center and then angle them however I need to fit in there. But these are going to be kind of twofold. One, I need to fill this gap, that way once I tighten them up it's snug, filling that space. But also I went with rubber because metal on metal rattles and gets annoying and loosens, so similar to any other bushing, body mount, motor mount, usually rubber or some kind of poly material. So I'm going with that. We'll see how well it works. I got to drill out these holes a little bit bigger to fit the M8 bolts, and then drill these out a little bit bigger as well. Alright, cool. There it is after a mock-up. Forgot to record myself putting them in, but I tightened them up and kind of squished them down so you don't really totally notice that angle, but it is in there and it does help. So what I'm going to work on today is the bracket for this guy to go up underneath there. So that's going to kind of mount like that. I'm going to use these two holes and then obviously the mount points here. So I got some, I think 16 gauge steel, which is a little thick, but I'd rather be more robust than too floppy. I'm gonna go trace some stuff out, cut it, bend it, and see where we wind up. I'm not going to for this, so I can flush, and then I start doing my actual model. I think it's down because it's bucket, so I'm just gonna take a loose marking over here, make a sharp point. Okay, down there. Nice. Here's where I screwed up on the last side, and then after I had done it, I was like, man, I know better. So perfect opportunity to kind of go over it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to color here, give me a little base layer of blue. Now what that does, it gives me a contrast background to make a scribe mark. Now when you just use a marker, even a fine tip, you're never going to be precisely where you need to be because you're going to be always on the outside of something. So like for example, if I was going to trace where to cut this light out, there will always be a tiny little gap there because of how fat the marker is. It's just the relationship. So what you can do is, to get it as tight as possible, is you color like this, and then what I'll do is I will make a scribe mark through here, Okay. So now you can see, it probably won't focus, but I just traced the outside, or I guess inside, diameter of this. Okay, and it's pretty precise. I mean, however thick this tip is. What I'll do is I'll punch the center of this hole, and then I'll use a square to find the exact parallel line from here over here, and then I'll scribe another one, so then my two holes will be perfectly the same distance from the bottom edge of this. Since this is a known straight, I want to keep everything as square as possible. The exact mark, I'm going to go here, make another scribe mark, my line, for this hole, put the same, see where I got, and then I'll mark this hole, drill this one, and then I know we're perfectly straight in relationship to this edge. Okay. There's our whole drill. Let's see how she lined up. Perfect. Nice. Okay. So that's in there. Basically how I need to make this bracket is I'm going to trace out this oval, and then right about here, it's got to come narrow because it's got to fit along the spine of this fender. So obviously if I bend it backwards at full width, it's going to hit up in here and won't come flush. So basically the part that's vertical, mounting to the light, will be full width, and then for the spine that's going to get bent back, I need to have it just a little bit wider than this. So what that's going to look like on here is trace this out, and then probably somewhere in here have it come straight up, and then that is the piece that's going to get bent back. Alright, so what I'm doing to find center is I'm going to measure off this left edge the distance from the inside edge of each hole, and then I'm going to split the difference. Now, sometimes metric just makes things easier. I'm also kind of used to it dealing with like military ordnance and shit. So it's whole numbers. It makes math easy. So I can see right here, this guy is 15 centimeters from the left edge. 115. No shit. Imagine that. Oh, I'm sorry, I misspoke earlier. This is in millimeters. So 115 millimeters. This is 15 millimeters. It's almost like this fucking light was made not in the US. So from this edge, 65 millimeters. I think. Alright, so that's my square. There's 55. Now we'll do the same thing. Just use that reference. Okay. Put it low there. Put too much. That's also not going to be flat in there because it's not a radius. So, alright. So, inside, I'm going to do 60 millimeters or 6 centimeters total width, which means from here to there and 30 off center. Probably okay. Because I know that I should not be off center. Because everything, but I'm back to that reach. And do it right all the way through. I'm lazy. Okay. Okay. I'll get it. You know, I'll show you. Earlier. Get out of the quick isolation grab mark. And then I found my left edge and my right edge of where I'm going to cut this. I'm going to trace this out to match the light. And then this part's going to be narrower. Okay. Alright, I'm pretty happy with this. Where'd my light go? So basically, how this looks, right there. And what I'm gonna have to do is just figure out where I need to bend this guy, and then drill my two holes for the top of the fender, and then this will be my light mount. Alright, so basically I decided I'm gonna pretty much try to bend this thing as close as possible to the top. That way I'm gonna naturally wind up with a little bit of some love, so it'll bring the tail light down just a little bit, which is fine, give me a little clearance. But where I'm gonna put my line, I know this is still a known straight edge, so I'm gonna loosen that up. I'm on dad duty, so gotta pay attention to the monitor too. Switched you guys to helmet cam for some fun. Okay. Now I'm not going to scribe this one because it's not that serious. My bend will probably have more air in it than it's worth even trying to get a scribe on. But what I do know is that top edge is where I want this thing to fold at. Now I need to go backwards. I want to get this right. I do not want to fuck this up. A brake would definitely be preferable for this, but I ain't got one. I've bent things in this vise before. I'm gonna do it again. Now let's get some looking for scrap shit. I got these, which are pretty doosty. Might use them as some of my brake material. Matter of fact, I might just use 2 of those. Got another one over here. Shit. Alright, maybe I can... Could I be so lucky? Helmet cam's kind of hard because I throw you up on the headband and then I can't really check it. If I took it off to check it, then I risk not getting it in the same spot again. So, kind of just risking it. By the way, if you guys got tips and tricks on how to make better brakes, or you found some kind of hokey shit that works for you, I'm all ears. I kind of just experiment, try to use common sense, but I fuck things up a lot. So if you know of a good suggestion on a better way I could be doing this, by all means, drop a comment. This will not be the last time I do something like this, so if I can get good info for the next time I do it, I'm here for it. Okay, time to give it, first of all, time to skip the YouTube commercial. Put on a good song. Let's see if we can't bend this thing, huh? Okay. Nice. What I might do now is loosen this up. Give us just a little bit of love. Tighten it back up. Crease it a little more. Pull it out and see what we got. Okay, let's hope that's straight. Yeah, that looks pretty good. What happens to me the most is you got to really make sure this thing's in there straight, and then your pressure has to be even. What I've had trouble with in the past is your pressure kind of like walks, and then your crease points are a little off, and then you wind up with a twist. This one looks pretty good. I'm proud of this guy. GoPro died, so I'm using my phone real quick for the last couple videos of the night. Hopefully it looks pretty much the same. So, okay, one thing I want to mention real quick. I threw this in here. I kind of found where I wanted it to be. There's really no great way to figure out what's perfect. I followed my heart, and I'm going to make these holes wider anyway, so I've got room to kind of like make adjustments and then just tighten them down. But I put it in, mocked it up, marked my spots, and I pull it out, and I'm like, fuck, that does not look right. And then I looked at this fender from above, and those pre-drilled holes are nowhere close to what I assume should be. I mean, this thing's fucking marketed as like some Harley bobber or something or other. I mean, it's, I don't know. But, okay, it's in there. I got some bullshit bolts that I think were like off the TV stand or the TV wall mount. I didn't have any that were this exact hole with nuts. So it's kind of just like dangling, whatever. I'm gonna get some legit stainless steel ones anyway. But it's in there, it's kind of hanging just based on friction. Let's see what it looks like. Ooh, all right. I'm digging that. All right, still crooked as shit. Now I could do, of course I can't put my arm there and back up. I don't think I'm loving that. I think I might just end up putting it vertical in there. If I get pulled over, I get pulled over. But I also don't ride like a fucking asshole, so I've had it here and I've never had a light on it, never had an issue, so I think I might just end up throwing it in there and keep the back looking clean. But I'm really liking that. That is pretty cool. This is kind of coming together. Okay, that's as far as I'm getting tonight. I'll try again maybe tomorrow, but we'll see. All right, today is another drive-by project. It seems to be reoccurring these days, and by that I mean I have a few minutes to do a little something, and we're gonna get as far as we can. So this bracket I made I'm pretty happy with it. I'm ready to mock this up, and I'm gonna cut this extra off. Haven't figured out exactly what I'm gonna do yet, but it's not gonna have all this come final rendering. So what I know for sure is these are too small, so I gotta waller those out. And then these are a snug fit. I'm gonna take these, I'm gonna open these up just a little bit too, so when I paint, I can make sure I get paint in there, and I'm not immediately scuffing it off when I install hardware. So here's a little trick I like to do. We do this at work when we have to drill super precise, or rather super specific depths. I'll use a paint pen to figure out what hole I want to take this down to, because we already know I love my step bits. So we'll go there. Always confirm 20 times. So I'll put a little mark on that. You don't need to mark the whole thing, because then when it's spinning you can still see it. I might add a little bit more. And then I'll add red to the next one. So I know at least my first setup needs to have blue through the hole. And then I'll test it. I'll mock it up, see how that bolt fits in there. If I want a little more room, I'll step it up to this guy. But it helps you when you're just staring at a spinning bit. Kind of gets mesmerizing. So when you're cutting through, your eyes kind of start to play tricks on you. You lose track of the point of the bit. This helps you know what depth to go to. All right, just like that, easy day. That one already was. And that's test fit. That's pretty decent. That's got enough room for paint. I might leave it at that. Okay. Next, we got to do this guy. And anytime I can sit, I will. Let's see. Now this is kind of double layered. You can see it in there. I might have to go blue from the top and blue from the bottom. Okay. Fuck, am I gonna do this one? All right. Hopefully you can see. All right, that's already there. So is that one. Okay, cool. Now, as you can see, it's not super state-of-the-art, flush, countersunk, fancy, whatever, don't care. I want this thing to be presentable, fun to ride. That will do for me. Now, let's see. Oh, we got a live audience. Not really. Just me talking to myself. All right, let's temporarily, here's a picture of how I had it mocked up before, and I know that it works. So the grounds all the way around for these DR650s are the black with the white stripe ground. And then on this one, yellow goes to gray, which I had a funny thought the other day. It's a DR650. I'm gonna start calling this thing the Doctor 650. See if I can't get it to stick with my own memory. One, because I think it's funny. Two, it's kind of unique. And three, it's Suzuki's fault for naming it a damn DR650. So this is the Doctor 650. Let's see how the hell it looks. Also, if you ain't figured it out, there's some things changed on this bike. I don't know how the hell I'm gonna edit this video. Truth is, I'm all over the place with how I'm working on this thing. This has been a project. The turn signals have been a project, which also means the turn signal relay, the flasher relay, is a project. The headlight was its own project. The front markers are the same project is back there. And now I've got a diode kit on the way because the turn signals will not flash appropriately without the diode, which I'll explain in a second. Let's first check our work. All right. I like the way that looks. That is cool. That rides that curvature about perfectly. I'm really, really happy with how this is all pairing up. Now, mind you, none of these pieces are meant to work together. This fender, like I said, is it's for some Harley. These are just generic marker lights that just happen to fit the inner diameter of my frame where it's cut off. So marker lights will be there. This light, I don't even know what I ordered. I mean, I'll put a link to it, but it was some kind of vintage dirt bike rear light. Let's see if I can show you and hit the brake. All right, so that works. Nice and bright. I still don't know where I'm gonna put the license plate. Let's see. Got an old one. It's got the built-in light, so that's kind of cool. But I don't know if that's where I really want my damn license plate for this. It might end up going up in there. It's definitely coming off there. It's not going to stay there. But cool, I am digging that. That looks sweet. Now the holes are drilled. I can paint, but I probably won't paint until, as you guessed it, another segment of the project is ready for paint. So I can just kill two birds with one stone. the fender came in flat black. I'm gonna match it gloss like the rear fender in the tank. So that bracket's good. I need to cut it off, which maybe I'll do today since I have a second. I think I'll cut that off, clean up the edges. That'll be ready for paint, and then I'll come back and explain the turn signal situation. Kind of deceiving because these holes are canted, but that was not my design. That's where these holes were pre-drilled, right there. Am I a fan of it? Nope, but I wasn't about to drill my own, so that's where that lined up. Last thing too I just want to mention is hey, this channel is just for fun, guys. I don't do this for a living. I just do this for fun on my own stuff. So these processes that I do and the choices I make are just to learn and try shit. Ultimately, what I'd really love is to get a group of supporters that can give me tips, tricks, and some pointers. So if you see anything that I'm doing in this video or other videos that you have suggestions for, by all means, send a DM or drop a comment. I'm all about getting better. I'm not sitting here saying that I know all this stuff. I'm pretty much making these videos just to prove that it can be done by somebody just studying up a little bit and is willing to try. So if you have insight on how to make some of these decisions go smoother, by all means, let me know and I will implement them in future videos. So last little conclusion clip here for this rear fender project. Really like the way that it turned out. I still do have to build that kind of trail bar. I think I'm probably going to make into maybe like a little rack here for a backpack or small bag or something to kind of fill that gap. Or I might tighten up those bolts there for pulling some space out of those bushings. But nonetheless, I really do like how that turned out. I like it a lot more than what I had. I feel like this pays tribute more to that kind of vintage dirt bike scrambler style that I wanted, keeping the stock tank and the seat. I didn't want to go that crazy changing things up. So I am happy with where this Harley fender got me. I do really love that light there. I know I mentioned that I was probably going to run that plate there because I wasn't anticipating issues with the law, and you know, I've been riding this bike to work now for like a week and I already got pulled over for it. So I'm gonna have to come up with some kind of solution. I probably will just end up making that bracket to hang it right here. It is what it is. I'll see what I can kind of come up with, but I really do like how that back end wound up being. Now the front end will be a whole nother video of itself. But for now, thanks guys, appreciate y'all.